Good day, everyone. We are the Group 2. Today, we're going to present about the moral agent, developing virtue as habits.
A moral agent is a person who can think carefully about their actions and choose what is right instead of what is wrong. Because of this ability, a moral agent is responsible for the decision they make and their actions affect other people. And developing virtuous habits means practicing good value again and again until they become part of a person's everyday behavior. Virtues include qualities like honesty, kindness, patience, respect, and responsibility. When people constantly practice this good action, they slowly become habits that shape their character.
How is moral character developed? The circular relation of acts and character. Circular relationship. Acts that build character, these are individual. Repeated actions that require conscious effort and choice. Through constant practice and repetition, these acts gradually form habits. Acts that emanate from character once a trait is habituated. It becomes a disposition, a stable part of who you are. At this stage, your character naturally generates specific moral acts with less conscious struggle. An honest person acts honestly because it is their nature to do so. So, our moral character develops from the actions we repeat every day. When we keep choosing to do good things like being honest, helping others, or telling the truth, those actions slowly become habits. Over time, these habits become part of who we are. That means we no longer struggle to choose what is right because it already feels natural to us. For example, an honest person tells the truth not because they are forced to, but because being honest is already part of their character.
Lawrence Kohlberg na siya'y theory of moral development. It describes siya how peoples understand of right and wrong. Na siya'y tulo ka levels with two stages each. First, first level, post-conventional level. Second level is conventional level. And the last level is pre-conventional level. Post-conventional level, age 13 plus, which is focused on principle and justice. First stage niya, social contract, reasoning. Social are important, but they can be changed if they're unfair to people. For example, a 16 years old joined a student group to push for later school start time, arguing that the current early start time hard teens health and should be adjusted to be serve and community. Second stage, universal ethics principle, reasoning. Some values like justice or human dignity matter more than any rules or law. Example, an adult refuses to work for a company that tests product on animals, even though it means turning down a high-paying job because they believe all living beings deserve respect, regardless of what laws or industrial standards allow. Conventional level, age 10 to 13, focus on society and norms. First stage, good boy attitude. So, I do what's right so people like or approve of me. For example, ang 12 anyos nga bata, hunong siya teasing sa iyang classmate because iyang na-notice nga iyang friend think it mean and dili siya ganahan mo hang out sa usa ka tawo who bullies others. Second stage, law and order morally. I do what's right because rule keeps society working. For example, ang 13 anyos na bata kaya naghuwat siya sa walk signal sa crosswalk maski walay sakyanan kay kabalo siya nga ang pag-follow sa traffic law is necessary jud kailangan to keep someone safe. And the last level, pre-conventional level, age 4 to 10, nag-focus siya sa tong self and consequences. First stage, avoiding punishment. Reasoning. I do what's right so I don't get in trouble. For example, ang 5 years old nga bata kay wala niya drawingi ang walls. Kay kabalo siya kasapan sa siyang mama or sa iyang parents. But not because drawing on walls is inherently wrong. Second stage, self-interest, reasoning. I do what's right if it's helped me get something I want. Example, ang 8 anyos nga bata iyang gitabangan og limpyo ang iyang igsuon sa ilang room. Kay nagpromise silang parents kung manglimpyo sila kay after ana magtan-aw sila og video game.
There's 3 levels of care development. Free conventional. Caring for oneself to ensure survival. Conventional. Caring for others, often sacrificing one's own needs. Self-sacrifice as goodness. Post-conventional. Balancing care for oneself with care for others. Integrating responsibility with empathy. Elegant purpose that morality is not just about justice, but also about ability to care for and maintain. Conventional. Care for oneself rigid. Conventional. Care for others, bahalag nag-self-sacrifices na. Post-conventional. Balance iyang pag-care sa kaugalingon ug sa uban.
Gender biasness. Kohlberg's research was based mostly on male participants framing morality around abstract justice and rights. These findings may have been influenced by a gender-specific perspective, highlighting how gender can affect moral reasoning and biases. Ethics of care. Gilligan argued women often reasoning morality through relationship, empathy, and responsibility to prevent harm, care rather than justice, emphasizing that women tend to reason morally through relationship, empathy, and responsibility instead of focusing solely on justice and rights. This perspective highlights the importance of caring for others and responding with compassion, which can be a different but equally valid approach to morality. Different voice. She emphasized that women are not morally deficient but operate from a different orientation, care rather than justice. Women often approach morality through caring, empathy, and responsibility rather than just justice and fairness. This suggests that moral reasoning can be diverse and context-dependent. Complementary perspective. Kohlberg highlights justice and fairness while Gilligan highlights care and responsibility. Together, they broaden our understanding of moral reasoning. Kohlberg's view the justice and fairness as central to morality, which is often associated with a more male-oriented perspective. In contrast, Gilligan emphasized care and responsibility, which is often associated with a male-oriented perspective. Both views are important and together broaden our understanding of moral reasoning, showing that justice and care are complementary rather than mutually exclusive. This is the aspect, basis of morality, research participants, developmental model, critique of other, and the Kohlberg's justice, universal principles, fairness, right, primarily male, sex hierarchical stage, sees care as less advanced, and the other hand, Gillian care, relationship empathy, preventing harm, emphasize female perspectives, contextual relational reasoning, argues justice model is based. Kohlberg justice. Morality is grounded in universal principles like fairness, right, and justice. He believed moral reasoning develops by learning abstract rules that apply to everyone. And Gillian Care, morality is based on relationship, empathy, and preventing harm. She emphasized that caring for other and maintaining connection is just as important as fairness. And the research participants by Kohlberg, his study were conduct mostly were male participants, which shape his justice-centered model. And Gillian, she highlight female perspectives, arguing that women often approach moral problems through care and responsibility rather than abstract justice. The developmental model, Kohlberg proposed six hierarchical stages for moral development, from obedience to universal ethical principles. Each stage is more advanced and abstract than the last, and Gillian saw moral reasoning as contextual and irrational instead of rigid stages. She believed people shift between care and responsibility depending on the situation. And last but not the least is critique of each other. Kohlberg considered care-based reasoning as less advanced, almost a lower stage compared to justice reasoning. And Gillian criticized Kohlberg's model as based since it overlooked women's moral voice and assumed justice was the highest form of morality.
Why this topic works. It connects philosophical ethics, virtue as habit with psychological theories, Kohlberg and feminist. Critique Gilligan, it highlights the dynamic process of the moral development from both individual acts and broader reasoning from works. It provides a balanced view, justice and care as dual voice in moral life. This topic works because it connects different ideas about how people develop their sense of right and wrong. It combines philosophical ethics, which explain that virtues become part of a person through reflected goods habit with psychological theories such as the moral development theory of Lawrence Kohlberg and feminist perspective of Carl Gilligan. These theories help explain how people think and make moral decisions. It also shows that moral development is a dynamic process, meaning it changes and grows over time. Through personal experience and reasoning, people learn morality not only from their actions but also from understanding broader ethical ideas.
That's